Next is the flowchart of a program. So, what is a flowchart? Flowcharting is a tool developed in the computer industry for showing the steps involved in a process. A flowchart is a diagram made out of box, diamonds, and other shapes connected by arrows, and each shape represents a step in the process, and the arrow shows the order in which they occur. So this is how a flowchart would look like in a program. So a flowchart shows the breakdown of a task into separate steps, and they can be used to represent how programs work. In the right here, you can see an example of a flowchart of a program, but it is not a actual flowchart for C programming, but it can also be used for an example in our daily life. For example, we must have the start and the end of the process. And after the start, there goes the process by you as a customer or a burger. Then we go through a choice. So a choice represent with this diamond shape with a yes and no most of the time. So if you order yes, you may proceed by ordering your fries, and then it goes to the next problem where if you want to get a drink or not, if you want to say no, then you proceed by go to the cashier and pay. So this is how a flowchart should looks like in general. So like we mentioned just now, all flowcharts have a start point using this symbol, this ovular shape, and all flowcharts have an endpoint using the same shape. So this is the terminator of the flowchart. And all flowcharts should have at least one process box. The direction of the flow is one way. So the process box represent with a square shape. Like we mentioned just now, the diamond shape is the choices, represent the choices we make during our program. So what are the advantage and the disadvantage of flowchart? They are a very good communication tools to explain the logic of a system to all that concerned. And they direct the programmers to go from the starting point to the program to the ending point without missing any steps in between. Some tasks are difficult to represent using a flowchart, that is the disadvantage, and at times a little bit of alteration in the solution may require complete redrawing of the flowchart. So with bigger or rather complex programs, it is quite difficult for you yourself to see how the flowchart should look like. So this is the basic flowchart symbols we mentioned in the previous slides. What these symbols, what the shapes should represent. The square shapes or rectangular shape is the process flowchart. It indicates any type of internal operation inside of the processor or memory. The rhombus shapes represents the input and output of a program. Used for input and output of the operation indicates that the computer is to obtain data or output results. The diamond shape is for the decision or choices. The circle one is the connector that allows the flowchart to be drawn without intersecting lines or without reverse flow. This is rarely to be used in flowchart making, but it is a good knowledge to know. This double square, it is a predefined process used to invoke a subroutine or an interrupt program. So this is usually what we use to represent bigger flowcharts where it is going to connect to the other function. The function will be learned later in the next chapter. The ovular shape is the terminal where we represent the start and the end of a program. So this is how a flowchart of a program, C program flowchart should look like, where you go through the process, two different process, a decision was made and goes to process number 3.